Thank you.
Hi, my name's Tom Parker. I live on Lee Avenue here in Princeton.
Hey, Tommy, can you just make sure you're speaking in the mic?
Hello?
You can also just pull it off, too, and hold it.
Nah, whatever. There we go. Can you hear me, Nick? Tom Parker, Lee Avenue, Princeton. My concern as well is that this ordinance pass, but also that we get it right. And I think there were fair questions that came from the podium. A question that is generated by the mayor's statement that I have also is, can we pass this ordinance and table the procedure process? Because as we were instructed at the last council meeting, this was a process that we were going to tweak and work together with the administrator to do. We just received the information that's currently in this package Thursday in part, and then a final, well, not necessarily a final draft, but the draft is presented here tonight, today, just today. I thank the mayor and Council President Lieberman for coming in and spending an hour with us trying to go through some of our concerns. I really don't think that we're far away, but some of the questions, like I said, that were generated tonight are excellent, and I don't feel comfortable that we can establish a civil rights process that's going to be fair and inclusive unless we clear the concerns about the procedure and get an understanding. Just the interpretation from the attorney, even about the ordinance and the impact on municipal employees. My whole view was the civil rights process being all-inclusive, and understanding that might impact some employees. But the way I was hearing what was said tonight is that any citizen, not necessarily just a municipal employee, that has a complaint against the municipality or against the police department would have to go through the affirmative action officer, and that's nothing that we actually discussed like that. But in the month since the previous meeting that we were scheduled to kind of have these back and forths, it would have been a lot clearer for us to understand and help us shape how the procedure should go. So I am concerned about that.
Well, can I ask, Tommy, can I ask, because I'm trying to understand what is it exactly that you want, that you're not happy with it? Is it the same thing that Leticia mentioned about when, is there something other part of it?
There were questions, yeah, to say that Leticia presented, absolutely.
Just that when the director's not there?
When the director's not there, but we also proposed a question about mediation, for instance. Once the process has been mutually agreed upon by the parties, all right, whether or not then as part of the intake process, whether it be with civil rights or the human services director, they can then make a contact, for instance, with the chosen mediation service to be used. That question wasn't answered. There was some concern as to how the municipality would tie into that and what liability, I'm assuming, that may or may not present. I mean, so there are a lot of functional questions that like I said, we're not far away.
I don't understand.
I can maybe help with that one. So there's, and maybe I'm going to refer this one to Mr. DeShield to answer. So there's going to be, as required by the ordinance, a list of mediators who offer their services for free. And if it's the choice of the complainant that they want to pursue mediation, want to pursue that avenue, and the entity that they're making the complaint against agrees, then can you just walk us through then what happens?
Sure. Once Human Services determine that both parties agree on mediation, there will be a list of mediators. We'll simply go down the list. Those complaints, the complainant and the individual coming in with the complaint and the person having the complaint against them, that information will be forwarded to the mediator. The mediator will reach out to the two parties to then get the parties together, because once The private mediation will be a private mediation, and we did that purposefully so that it could be more confidential than any process we have. So once we start that process, we just turn it over to the mediator to run the process.
I think I think what Tommy is saying is that before we reach that point in the process, like who refers them to the mediation? Does the CRC board refer them, or does the Human Service Director refer them?
The Human Services Director gives them the options that they have, which would be mediation, informal conflict resolution, or...
No, I mean, once they decide on mediation, who reaches out? He's asking who reaches out.
She simply, there will be a list of mediator.
Mm-hmm.
She simply provide the contact information for the people who are involved to the mediator. The mediator then reaches out to the two parties to get them into mediation.
So she would contact the mediator, and then they would call the two parties.
Correct.
Wait, I'm confused. If there's multiple mediators in the list, who picks the mediator?
We'll just go down the list. There'll just be a list, and we would just simply go down the list of mediators.
So it's assigned essentially randomly.
Randomly.
By Human Services.
Correct.
Well, see, and that's not that's not clear in the procedure, even in the explanation and the flow chart and all that. That's really not clear as to the process, because the key to it is it's a mutually agreed upon.
I was going to say, don't the two people have to agree on the mediator? Well, I mean, if you agree to mediation, do you not get to agree also to the mediator?
The whole
You can't-
process.
Right? Don't you have
Usually
some...
you do.
There's no reason they can't. If they didn't agree on the mediator, they could get another mediator. There's no reason they can't.
Now, also, and depending on how that end comes up, if you're using an agency, for instance, like the state agency, if you're using like a state agency that does the mediation, it's free. All right. There's a list of mediators provided, or they themselves can sign once it is agreed that we're going to mediate a matter, then they can actually assign a mediator. Then it's completely out of the hands. I mean, there's a number of ways to go about it, but the key to it is the mutual agreement between the parties.
Right, but I'm wondering about that mutual agreement. If you sort of say, okay, I'd like to do mediation, but you're assigned a mediator that you're not happy with, and you say, no, I'm out. Then what? Then you're out. It's over. So then there'd be no mediation.
Right. They would have if they wanted to pick, both parties agree to pick another mediator, that's also fine too. Part of the process is the way we initially discussed this process, we would have a list of volunteers, not the state agency, but a list of volunteers who would assist us in this process. So there would be a limited number of mediators that you could go to.
Was this